Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Alright, it's actually live now. Holy crap, holy. Took like huge delay. Finally live. Alright. I'm just gonna finish getting set up here while we're just waiting. I'm gonna get these tomatoes all sanitized up. And just rinse them off really quick. Get them ready. We're not gonna be doing the salsa first though, we're gonna be doing popcorn first, which I'll get to in just a second. I'm just going to get these tomatoes ready. The rest of the stuff I need. Alright. What's up, Doc? How you doing today, man? Welcome back. Good to see you. What's up, Epic Seal? Oh no, Billy's cooking. I know. That's a tragedy. Truly. Alright. Just gonna wipe these off really quick. I just have some bleach water over in the sink and I just dunked them in that and then rinsed them off really quick. I got some bleach water just over like a sanitizing solution ready to go. Do you actually use mortars and pestles? Not typically. We're not going to be using those today. Those are just there. The reason that I have two is because there was one year that, like, 1 year for Christmas, getting up this morning early, paid off. Nice, Treckler. There was one Christmas, like, a couple of years ago, that, like, a couple of different people, like, heard me say that I would like a mortar and pestle. And so I got two mortars and pestles that year for Christmas. So that happened, but yeah, so that's why I have two. But I certainly don't use them enough, like very often, and certainly not enough to own two of them. What's up, Odeya? Welcome back. Good to see you. So I just rinsed off those tomatoes. We're going to be doing a salsa today, but before we do the salsa, I'm going to show you guys how to do my popcorn. Well, it's not like my popcorn. It's not like I made it up. It's actually like from Alton Brown that I learned doing it this way. And I've never made popcorn a different way since. And it's just really great. And it's easy to do, and it tastes like a million times better than like microwave popcorn. And it's pretty great. I have feet. You don't know that. What if I'm just floating around on like just a hover thing or something? I don't know. Yeah, Alton Brown represent. Exactly. So we're just gonna get the popcorn out of the way first, because that's like quick and easy, and then we could just, you know, never microwave indeed, Neo, but just so that way we can get on to the more complicated salsa, because the salsa like isn't like ridiculously complicated, but it actually involves like a couple of steps. So we'll have to. So that's going to take quite a while. So, all right. So the first thing that I use for popcorn is a large stainless steel bowl, and you can see like I've been using this bowl for like 7 years for popcorn. And it's got all of this like carbon scoring and shit in it, and you're not gonna be able to get this stuff off. So I don't recommend. Like I would recommend using a stainless steel bowl like just for this. I would probably say, because you know, I mean you can see it just like it's not like you can't use it for other stuff, because it's not like this. This isn't going to, like, as long as you wash it out really good, it's not going to, like, ruin the taste of anything. But it doesn't look very appealing. Like, if you're going to, like, serve a salad, you know, in, like, a bowl, like, you probably don't want to be like, look at that, isn't that delicious? Because it's not. It doesn't look that way anyway. So anyway, we're going to get some popcorn in here. And depending on what kind of popcorn you use, like, I've tried, like, several different kinds. Like this particular stuff that comes in a bag, like this stuff doesn't seem to pop very big, and I end up having to use like a whole crap load more to like fill this bowl, because like, you know, that's the other thing that's kind of nice, is it's a bowl in and of itself, so you can just use it to eat the popcorn right out of. But anyway, so like depending on what kind of popcorn, like you could try different kinds. Some stuff pops a little bit better than others, but usually I'll go about. Like, if it's a one that pops really big, I'll use like 3/4 of a cup. But like this stuff, typically I might even use more than like a full cup of popcorn kernels. But I'm just going to use 3/4 of a cup now, because it's not like I'm not going to be eating this popcorn anyway. Not right now. So that's the first step. You get the popcorn in the bottom here, and then what you got to do is we're going to use peanut oil, and you could use canola oil, but don't use olive oil. It will smoke, and it's going to make your popcorn taste disgusting, because the oil's going to burn, and that's not going to be good. So you need to use peanut oil, and I can just I'll use this. And I don't like measure out the peanut oil, but what I'm going to be looking for is just to like make sure that like all of these kernels just get covered. Just like not like they don't have to be swimming, but I just need the olive oil to be covering all of them, because what the olive oil is, or what the peanut oil rather, not olive oil, is doing is it's making sure that all of the kernels are heating up really evenly. Because if they start popping too early, like some of them pop early, then other ones pop later, then you're going to have a pretty mediocre time, because then you're going to have the ones that pop too soon are going to be burnt by the time the other ones are ready to go. Makes you hungry before your dinner? Well, good. That's what we're here for, Neil. But how's everybody's Wednesday going? I'm going to get this going in here. Alright, might be enough. I'm just going to kind of move it around. Just a little bit more. So like I said, just kind of like they're not unable to move around, you know, like they're all covered, right? So like when I move the bowl around, it's not like you don't hear them like rattling around, because they're all nice and covered with oil. So that's pretty good. Going good so far? Good to hear, Deathless. Good to hear. Seems like it's been a little while since I've heard from you, so it's fantastic of you to stop back in. Like for a lot of stuff, much like Elton Brown, I use kosher salt, but for this, you really need to just use like table salt is perfectly fine. So, like you're gonna want to really put like a good bit of table salt in here, like like at least, like if you're just measuring it out, I would say like at least a tablespoon, and then you're probably going to be adding more salt afterwards. So I'm just going to kind of go with a shitload of salt is like the technical measurement. I would probably say that that's pretty accurate, but can't watch streams much anymore. You've been busy. That's all right, man. I mean, real life comes first, for sure. So no biggie. I've been doing good, Deathless. Been doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. So now, what I need to do is we need to make sure that we get this covered really good with aluminum foil. And we're going to need to use 2 sheets, because this is like not acceptable. That gap, not good enough. So we need to cover that up really good. And we're going to put some holes in this to like let a little bit of steam out, but a lot of the steam, like that's really important for making sure that the popcorn all cooks evenly. So really important, like you gotta get a good seal on here, and then we're gonna be poking some holes. And I'll just take my knife over here and get some holes going in here. Don't make any huge holes for a couple of reasons. One, if you make too big of holes, like you're gonna have popcorn kernels pop it up and out of the holes that you poke in. So don't do that. So we're just gonna make like a lot of little holes. That one was a little too big. That's okay. Alright. Okay, so now we're pretty much ready to go. The only other thing that we need is some pot holders, and we're going to be doing this over like whenever I used to do this on a electric stove. What's up, pleb? How's it going? Just finished work. What am I making today? We're starting off with popcorn. Making snacks for FTL Day. Absolutely, girl. Hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Terrible. I meet someone that gave me feelings. I'm not as good as anyone anymore. This sucks. What? I don't know what you're talking about, Epic. Stab that foil. It's dead. Don't worry. It's not gonna come back. So anyway, when I'm using my hair's starting to fall down. When I'm using an electric stove, I would put this on high heat. But with gas, I've tried that before, and it just burns the popcorn. So we're going to be doing like medium-high heat. Alright. Tying my hair back. There we go. Okay. So we're going to get that on. Alright. So like we got it on 7 on the burner here. And now, once this goes on the burner, you can't like let it stop. Like if I just set it on there, it's just going to like heat unevenly. Like stainless steel is a really bad conductor of heat, so it doesn't heat evenly. That's like why if you have a stainless steel pan, it's got either an aluminum like bottom press bonded to it, or it's got a copper bottom pot for stainless steel cookware, because it's really bad at transferring heat. So like we can't just count on the heat to be even, because it's just not going to happen with the stainless steel. So we got to keep it moving here. You don't have to go like really crazy. Just move it a little bit around. Probably set your house on fire. No, you wouldn't, Toaster. Come on, I believe in you. So again, we just have those popcorn kernels, the peanut oil, and then a good bit of salt in there, and then we covered it up and we poked holes in the aluminum foil. And we're just going to keep it moving here. And then once it starts popping, then we're going to have to like kind of really start shaking it a lot, just to make sure that all the popcorn kernels stay at the bottom, and then all like that way, you know, because the popcorn, like the unpopped kernels are heavier, right? So they'll sink to the bottom. We just got to kind of, it's basically like panning for gold, but it's with popcorn, so it's more delicious than gold. So we're just going to keep this moving here. And I'm like kind of switching between left and right hands, because a lot of times my hands will get a little too warm. If you have like oven mitts, that would be pretty great. This is like a really good application. Alright, so I can like hear it like starting to like kind of sizzle. It's not popping yet. You'll hear it when it starts popping. But as soon as it starts popping, there's like, sounds like one maybe went. But it's going to kind of start to all go at once, hopefully. That's the whole point here. Yeah, I can hear it really starting to get, there it goes. So now, we're going to kind of start moving a little bit more. I'm going to kind of let it sit for just a second, see if it wants to. Alright. There we go. So we're going to kind of shake it pretty good here. We're still trying to keep it on that flame to make sure the heat's still getting to it. We don't stop moving it as long as that's still popping. And once it starts to slow down on the popping, then we can go ahead and get ready to pull it off of there. Alright, it's starting to slow down, so I'm just going to pull it off. I'm going to turn it off, turn the heat off, and just put it back on the stove there. It smells like fucking really good. It's like the easiest popcorn, and it's way better than like anything else. Alright, so I'm going to try and get some of this off so I can show you guys. Once it's done popping, then you do want to kind of get the top off, otherwise the popcorn can get a little soggy. And you don't want that. Oh my god, look at this. It's like up to the top. It's perfect. That was the perfect amount that well, maybe I could have put a little bit more in there, but that's fine. Look at that. That is freaking awesome. I'm going to throw this away. Alright, so the bowl is still really hot, obviously, but just dropped some popcorn accidentally. There's like I'm like you can hear me moving it around. Like you don't hear a whole lot of clanging around. You don't hear a whole lot of clanging around with like the popcorn kernels. Like almost all the kernels are popped in there, which is fucking awesome because there's so many times, you have a bag popcorn and they're not like, they didn't all pop. You gotta have like 20 freaking kernels in the bottom of it. But typically I find that like I'll have to salt it like a good bit more afterwards. But yeah, that is like the easiest popcorn, really great snack. And friggin' I make this all the time, like when I leave the stream early on Monday for movie night, boom, popcorn and stuff like that. It's awesome. I'll make you hungry again, Melina. Indeed, I will. But yeah, so that's the popcorn. Really awesome, really easy, and if you make this popcorn once, like you're not gonna like get bag popcorn again, because not only is it's really cheap, because you get to buy like bulk popcorn, but also you just get one stainless steel bowl, you use a little bit of foil. It's really awesome. Yeah, well, I worked in a restaurant for 10 years, so that's that. It's really good, highly recommended for that, and we're going to get started on the salsa next. But I want to do the popcorn first because I'd talked about the popcorn. It's really easy, and I hate microwave popcorn, so it's freaking really good. I don't think there's any better way of doing it in my experience, Captain Brass, but not even like the Jiffy Pop stuff or like over a fire or whatever, none of it's as good as this. Why do you know that? Two things? Alright, I'm interested. So, what's up, Ardoria? How you doing today, man? Happy Wednesday to you. We're gonna get started on the tomatoes, or on the salsa next. So I'm gonna get this out of the way really quick, and I'm gonna eat this later. You hear passion in it? Oh no! 2 Elton Brown hype, yeah. No kidding. Anytime somebody's excited about Elton Brown is always really good. So for this salsa that I'm going to be making, it's like basically like we're going to be making like a salsa with just we're going to use like a cold salsa thing, like we're going to use tomatoes, onions, and like jalapenos, yellow pepper rings, and banana peppers. We're going to be using all that, and then to this we're going to be mixing in you love using oil in spray, and I see something different on my screen. Oh, Americans love using oil spray? I don't know. I've never used oil spray before. And then to this stuff, we're going to be adding like a really simple spaghetti sauce, basically. And like for me, like this, like there's a lot of different really good salsas, but this just happens to be like my favorite. It's like pretty similar to what we have at like the restaurant that I used to work at, and it's really like a lot, like maybe a little bit different from salsas. Is that like from different from other salsas, anyways? That like when you take a bite out of the chip with full of this salsa, it fills your mouth. It's like a really full-bodied salsa. So it's not like just a one note kind of like it's not super spicy, it's not like bland at all. It's just really full of flavor. It's really nice. That's a lot of pickles for salsa. We're not going to be using all this, but it is a lot of like these are hot pepper rings, not pickles. But it does actually use I do actually use the juice out of this stuff, and one thing to know is like it does, depending on how much juice you add and how much of this stuff you use, like they are jarred goods, and it is like pretty pungent. It can be anyway. So that's like worth noting. So like if you don't like enjoy, if you like really hate like pickles or something like that, then you might not like it, but you could just go lighter on the salsa, on like this stuff a little bit, and it's going to be just fine for you. Because you're trying to perfect a pico recipe. Yeah, it's not exactly a pico, but yeah, we'll get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the sauce, or the spaghetti sauce, because I'm going to like cook it, and it's just going to be like a pan full here. Basically, not a whole lot, because it's all going to go into the salsa. Like I'm not making like extra, like a whole lot and like extra to put away. I'm going to be making, it's just going to make one gigantic batch of salsa. So, yeah, so we're going to get started with that. But so what I'm going to need here, first in the pan is an onion. So we're going to get an onion chopped up first. I'm going to put this stuff off to the side. I just had to get all this stuff out because otherwise I'll forget something. I'm really bad at like forgetting like one thing at the last minute. Before I chop the onion, I'm gonna get this can of diced tomatoes. Like I just got these they're like petite diced tomatoes. They're just really small diced tomatoes we're gonna be using in this. So I'm gonna get this open first. It's not gonna go in the pan first, but I'm just gonna get it open ahead of time so I don't have to do it later. Wipe that off. So I'll take the lid off here. I just have like a little plastic bag over here, just that I just use for trash. And you could use like a trash bowl or whatever. I just always have like a bag from the grocery store or whatever that I got vegetables from in or whatever, and I'll just like have one off to the side and I'll just throw all the crap in that, and then if I'm cutting up like a meat or something like that, I'll take that bag and I'll tie it up and I'll throw it in the trash outside instead of inside so it doesn't stink up the place. But anyway, so we got that can of diced tomatoes open. Then we're going to get this onion chopped. I'm just going to touch up this knife really quick. gonna go ahead and get one of my. I got some bar towels here. I'm gonna get one of them a little damp. Just to make sure I can always keep wiping down my cutting board. Alright. We don't need this anymore. Oh boy. Chef Billy, what's up, Slipknot? How you doing, man? Sharpening steel work, confirmed food industry worker. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Alright, so we're gonna... This onion's actually kind of old, but it's gonna be fine. But it's just a... This is a sweet onion, is what this is. You could use a Spanish onion or a yellow onion or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I wouldn't use a red onion, though. Those are a little bit too pungent. So... I don't use a Rachel Ray garbage bowl? For shame! I would imagine that that's actually a thing. Okay, so first we're gonna chop both the ends off of the onion here. And I'm just gonna put like a little score down the side of it here so I can more easily peel this outer skin off. Alright. Come on, onion. I always end up with a whole shitload of this, like these little onion flakes from the skin, and I need to peel another layer off. This is an old onion. Like I said, I've had it for like a week at least, so it's looking a little bit mediocre. Like sometimes you'll end up with this kind of skin. I mean, this is just on each layer of the onion, but sometimes it sticks to it, like you can see, like this. Like, I always try and get that off because if you go to put your knife on that, like, it's really slippery, and your knife is going to slip, so. What's up, Value? How you doing, man? How's your Wednesday going? Alright, so I'm going to wipe my knife off. And so we got two flat sides to the onion here, which is pretty great. We're going to go ahead and just cut this in half. And yeah, the onion's like kind of starting to grow just like a little bit. That's okay. Like you can leave that stuff in there. It doesn't like taste bad, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it out. It's just you can see that it's kind of like a you leave it going and it'll kind of start to grow. I mean, you can taste them. They don't taste like bad or anything, but they're like a little bit chewy. So I'm not gonna leave them in there. Okay. So for cutting onions, which means I'll cut my finger. So I'm going to show like two different ways to cut onions. Like like I said, I worked in a restaurant for 10 years, and a lot of the people that I trained to work in the kitchen like had never like held a knife before. So if you're really new to like using a knife in the like a chef's knife or cutting stuff in general, then I would highly recommend like once you're at this stage. You start by like just slicing the end off like this, and then you can take these and then you can just chop these up like this. Like the technically the proper way to do an onion is to slice it like this way, and then if you want it more fine, you do like a couple of slices horizontally through it, which is like a little bit of a dangerous cut, and then you go top down in this direction, and then you'll get like a fine chop for the onion. But it's a little bit more dangerous, and I wouldn't recommend doing it if you're doing it for the first time. But like in general, what you need to be doing is kind of like have all your fingers like kind of behind one finger. So it's like you kind of have, like I have all my fingers kind of bunched up here, and so it's like I'm holding on to this, but like my middle finger is in front of the other ones, and it's like I'm actually like using like my knuckle to like guide the knife here from the back end of it. So that way, hopefully, I don't end up cutting myself because I've got like this like angle from my knuckle going like this to like stop the knife. It's like hard to show, I guess, but it's like keeping the knife blade away from away from your fingertips. This is the whole point, anyway. So anyway, I'm gonna drop up the rest of this onion. That's the way that I recommend. The other, like, the much faster way is gonna be chopping it like this. And I didn't like leave the root on. I don't like doing that. So like what I'm doing when I'm chopping into this is I'm like literally, like I said, using my knuckle as like a guide for the knife. And I'm chopping it like an angle. So I'm like not chopping through like the back end of the onion here, but I am chopping through the front. And then we're gonna do one horizontal slice. Like that. And then finish it off like this. And then when you get about like 80% of the way through, like this, like if you're trying to chop this like last little bit of onion, like if it's still standing up straight, then that's not going to be very good. So you just lay that flat, and then you can just finish chopping it off like that. And I'm going to go over this just once more, make sure I don't have any big chunks. Not that it's a big deal. And I'm just going to chop up this other onion too, this other half anyway. Okay, so some of these onions we're going to use like directly in the sauce, and some of it we're going to use in the salsa. Again, I just like kind of pushed it all down so that way like be flat, a little bit easier to chop. All right, I got this like in a big piece here. We'll go over that again. So there we go. We got that onion chopped up. And I'll just wipe off the knife here on that bar towel. All right. So now with this, I'm going to go ahead and just get this into like a little Tupperware container, because I'm not going to use all of the onion for the salsa. It's a little bit too much onion. I do love onion, but it's a little bit much. It'll be a little bit strong. So I'm going to grab an onion here, or a little container. Just going to get this put in here. Looks like I got a little flake of onion skin in there. Get that out of there. Get out of there, onion. What are you doing? He's a madman. He's a rebel. Alright. Alright, good enough. And we're going to go ahead and get the spaghetti sauce part going now. And we're not going to be using these are Roma tomatoes, by the way. You could use like normal, like off the vine tomatoes, but I just use Roma because they're like 30 cents cheaper generally than other tomatoes, and I don't know, they just kind of work well for this particular salsa that I make, for me anyway. I kind of like handling them a little bit more. Just gonna wipe this off. All right. It's really important to make sure you're like kind of keeping up on cleaning as you go, and then you're gonna make your life a whole lot easier. Where are the choppers? There are no choppers in the kitchen. What are you, crazy? Alright, so we do need to get some heat on the pan, so we'll get that going. And we'll put that at a 6 on the oven there. 6 out of 10. And we gotta wait for the pan to heat up here. Let's see. I have a wooden spoon here. You could use like a spatula for this. It's fine. Like I just use a wooden spoon because it's not going to scratch the non-stick surface. So, huh. I don't know if I'm that good, Brass, but I appreciate the compliment, sir. I appreciate it. So we'll wait to get some heat in that pan. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be kind of putting some color on the onions. We're going to saute the onions. And once the onions are done there, I'm going to add just like a little bit of water in the pan just to make sure that like nothing's just to make sure everything's getting taken up off the pan. And then after that, we're going to put the can of finely diced tomatoes in. And we're going to put salt, pepper, and oregano and basil and garlic. And I just have like some little like glass jars of oregano and basil. To be honest, they're pretty old, so they don't have like all the flavor that they would normally have in them. But so I might be using a little bit extra as far as that goes. And you could use fresh garlic, but I'm just going to be using garlic powder. Just what I have, so whatever. It's not a big deal. So we're getting some heat on there. I'm going to get just that little bit of water that I was talking about ready. I don't need much, just like a couple tablespoons. And I also realized I didn't get out the actual bowl that I'm going to be putting the salsa in, so I'm getting that out too. Because I always forget something. So we'll get this bowl here. What's up, April? How's it going? This is a nice way to mix it up. Hey, what's up, Frosted? Good to see you, man. I'm just going to get a little bit of water. I don't really think that it actually needs this little bit of water. It's just like for the restaurant that I worked at, we always had like an aluminum pot that would make the spaghetti in, so stuff would always, stick to it. So you need to kind of deglaze it. But with the non-stick, it's not really necessary. It's just I'm just used to doing it for the recipe. So all right, there's some good heat in the pan. I could actually to get a little bit of water on me. You could hear the sizzle on there. So that's good to go. We're going to get a little bit of oil in the pan. Just a little bit. Like a tablespoon or something. And we're going to get a good bit of onions in here. Very nice. And we're going to throw a little bit of salt on there. Just to make, the salt's going to help pull the moisture out of the onions. You have a chef's degree? Oh wow! I never went to any school of cooking. What's up, Rocky? How you doing, man? We're cooking salsa. Well, we're making salsa right now. We're doing a little bit of a spaghetti sauce that we're going to be putting into our salsa. It really helps give the salsa a full body of flavor. It makes it delicious. Maybe I put the heat on a little too high. I'm going to put a little bit more oil in there. Alright, they're starting to get some good color. This sauce isn't really going to take very long, but it's still kind of a longer part of the sauce of this, and we kind of want to let it have time to cool off, because if we just put blazing hot shit into our cold salsa, then it's going to be kind of a mediocre time. What's up, Dope Nose? How's it going? Yeah, I do have my hair tied back because we are in the kitchen. I know everybody's used to seeing my hair down. You love eating yummy. Cool, Rocky. Well, good to have you, sir. But yeah, we did do the popcorn already. All right, this is going to be good. Just looking for that color on them. A little bit of color on them onions. And I'm going to throw a little bit of water in there. Okay, I'm going to let the water get down just a little bit, and then we're going to throw this can of finely diced tomatoes in there. Like I said, I don't really think that this part is absolutely necessary for a non-stick pan. It's just what I'm used to doing. Alright, we're going to go ahead and throw these in. Alright. And once we get this up to where it's kind of bubbling, we're going to go ahead, for right now what we're going to do once I get this mixed up a little bit, is we're going to go ahead and get the seasoning in it right now. Everything except for the basil. I find that like basil, like if you let it get hit with a whole lot of heat, then it kind of has a tendency to kind of lose its flavor just a little bit. So we're gonna put that in like after we turn the heat off, or at least we put it on low kind of towards the end. But for right now, what we're gonna do is get a little bit more salt in here, and we're gonna crack some pepper. And when you're putting like pepper in a sauce, generally you kind of want to, like I said last time for the chicken, like you kind of like make this a little bit more loose, so that way you get some bigger grinds. But if you're doing like a sauce, generally you kind of want the pepper flavor to kind of intermingle a little bit better. So you want to like tighten it all the way down so you get like the more fine pepper grind on your pepper grinder. I'm not really using any exact measurements. I'm just going to be kind of going on taste. And you can see it's kind of bubbling pretty good there. I'm going to give it another stir. And we're going to add the garlic. And we're going to put it on low here. We're going to add the garlic and the oregano. I'm just going to kind of cover the top with this garlic powder, like a pretty good hefty bit. And then we're going to put some oregano in. Like I said, this is like just for the salsa. This isn't like exactly how I would make spaghetti sauce, like if I was making it with noodles. This is just kind of to bring the salsa to another level. We're going to turn the heat on to low now, and we're going to kind of let this go for a little bit. Oregano smells fantastic. God damn it, we're not. What are you making, Billy? You just joined. We're making salsa, but we're doing like a spaghetti sauce that kind of is going to be going into our salsa. And we're going to be like kind of letting this cook down just a little bit. I'm going to put it actually on like a 2. Like basically, so like what I'm looking for here is I'm going to be cooking this like most of the liquid out of the pan here. And so what we're kind of going to be looking for is like when I could like draw a line in the pan with my spoon, and like when it's no longer, you can see it's like kind of starting to run back into the spot that I drew out with it. Like we're kind of looking for that to not happen anymore. So that, I mean, it just gives you a good like example of like a good showing of like how much liquid there is left in it. So we're gonna kind of let that's just on like low heat. We're gonna let that go for just like just a little bit. And while that's going, I could probably go ahead and start chopping the tomatoes, I guess. But what's up, Talk Tom Waits? How you doing, man? So yeah, not like I said, like if I would like take a little bit more time and like if I was making a spaghetti sauce that was going to be going with something, like on noodles or something like that, like if it was going to be standing by itself. But we're just kind of doing like a little quick thing just to kind of round out a kind of a basic salsa recipe, basically. And I'm just kind of like mushing down the tomatoes here with my wooden spoon, just to kind of make sure I don't have any big chunks. And that's like another reason that we want to kind of cook it for a little bit of extra time, is to make sure that we really soften up those tomatoes and get them really nice and soft and pliable. And I'm actually going to turn the heat up on that just a little bit, and then we're going to let that go for a little bit longer. I guess we can, while we're waiting on that, we can go ahead and start with the tomatoes here. Get the bowl there, and we're going to get the spoon over here. And like I don't need to get out of here, pepper grinder. Don't starve DLC. Oh my God. Yeah, we're making a salsa, Bentley. Indeed. So I'm gonna what I like to use when I at least start with tomatoes is like tomatoes are like a little bit kind of, you know, slippery skinned and stuff like that. I like to use a serrated knife for like starting the tomato cuts, just because even if you're like if your chef's knife isn't like absolutely razor sharp, like you're gonna kind of be, your knife can pretty easily slide off of the tomato, and like with a serrated knife, it just kind of bites into it, and it makes my life a little bit easier. So that's why I like using it. I'm making you hungry. Well, that's good, Keel. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So you can see this is kind of bubbling up a little bit. And I already rinsed off these tomatoes. It's starting to, it's just about there, I think. Like you can see, I can like draw a line in that, like I said before. And it's not really getting any liquid kind of going back into there. So it's got a lot of the moisture out of that. I mean, you could just tell by looking at it, you know, whether or not there's a whole lot of water in it. But we're not looking to just make it completely dry. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and turn this heat off. And now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of basil in, because like I said, I feel like if I put the basil in, like when I put the oregano in, well, it's like kind of bubbling up and stuff like that. I feel like the basil is like a little bit more mild than oregano is, you know, and it kind of just, I feel like I just don't feel like I ever taste the basil if I don't kind of put it in later. I'm just going to stir that in, and we're going to let that sit and let it cool off. So by the time we're done chopping up the rest of the crap into our salsa, then we're going to be in fantastic shape. I'm going to go ahead and give this a taste too. I don't know if I seasoned it just right. It's got plenty of salt. I think it needs a little bit more garlic. Alright, that's good. Normally if you're tasting something, like if you were in a restaurant, like tasting with the mixing spoon is a huge fucking no-no. Like, don't do that. If you're like serving other people, it's also inappropriate. But I'm making this for myself and Kuro, so I'm not too concerned about food safety guidelines at this particular moment. Just gonna get that spoon sitting on there. Okay, so now we're gonna get these tomatoes chopped up. You ever taste the difference between basil and oregano? I mean, you should be, I would say you should probably smell one next to the other. And if, maybe what you're smelling is like not actually very, very good basil or oregano, I would probably say, Abel, because there's a pretty big difference between them. Like, oregano is a lot, like, basil is a lot sweeter and, like, a less intense, and oregano is, like, I don't really know how to describe oregano, to be honest. I have no fucking idea. But, alright. So, like I said, I'm going to be using, like, this serrated knife here to start off with. I like it to start off with the way that I'm going to be dicing the tomatoes here. And we're going to be dicing them so that they, so that they're all, like, pretty even. Pretty evenly chopped, and I'm gonna be well, let's go ahead and like not be lazy, I guess. So if you're gonna, it's oregano-y, exactly. Treckler knows. So if you don't have like a paring knife, what you could do is like you go up to your knife and you talk sweetly into its ear, and like you're gonna be using your thumb. It's kind of like a guide, and I'm not talking about putting my thumb on the blade of the knife. I'm just bringing, like I'm holding onto the knife like this, and with my thumb up like this, and like now this is my paring knife, and it's like I'm holding the knife like this, but as long as you like, you know, I'm not like gripping it as hard as I can. You know, if you grip something too hard, just like if you're using a knife that isn't sharp enough, if you end up forcing something, you're a lot more likely to be cutting yourself. But this is what I'm going to be using to get this core out of the tomato. So I'm just like kind of pushing it in there, and I'm just kind of rocking the knife up and down, and the tomato I guess too. And then we end up with like this out. So we kind of end up kind of basically doing like a cone cut out of the tomato. So that's like the way that you do that. So we end up with that thing getting out of there. We don't want the core in there, that thing's bitter. So I'm going to do that with all these. Again, just kind of rocking it. And get that out. Same thing here. One of my coworkers had this thing that was called like a, gosh, what the hell is it? Like a tomato king or something like that. It was basically like a melon baller, but it had like teeth on it, you know? Like it was like this like really aggressive toothed like melon baller, and she could just take it and just go and like just cut the frickin' core right out of the tomato. It was awesome, and I wish I had one, but I don't. I've never seen one for sale. But again, just doing the same thing here. And we mangle the tomatoes a little bit, but that's fine. It's going into the salsa. We're not looking for presentation here. Alright, so those are all done. Okay. So, like I said, I like using, for this particular part, I like using a serrated knife just so that way I don't have to really worry about the knife like slipping off, because if you don't like the back ends on the tomatoes, like there's nothing like wrong with eating it, but if you don't like it, then you can cut it off. That's fine. But like just because there's like a little like dot on the back of it, it's not a big deal though. Anyway, so what I'm going to be doing here is again like trying to keep my fingers behind my middle finger here, but we're kind of spread out just a little bit more. And I'm just trying to hold the tomato steady because it is like you're looking for the flattest part of the tomato, but I'm not going to be cutting it in half. So we're going to be doing like kind of thin slices, not super thin slices, like we're looking for slices like this. Like it's not even like really very evenly sliced, but that's the kind of slices that we're looking for in here. And one thing to note that I see a lot of people make a mistake for is like you need to use the length of your knife to like help you out. Like I'm not just like pushing this knife up and down, you know, into this tomato. Like I'm using a forward and back motion, so that way we get like you gotta let the knife help you. And again, I'm using like the knuckle of my finger here to help guide the knife here. I hear like a squirrel right outside the frickin' thing here, or a bird or something. So we're making thick slices. Yeah, they're thick slices, I guess. Whatever. I don't know what they are. They're just slices. Like, I don't know what they're called. I just know the sound they make when I eat them. Alright. Alright, so we're going to get all 5 of these done. I always use 5 Roma tomatoes for this salsa recipe. It's just... like, if you were using bigger tomatoes, then you could probably just use like 3. But Roma tomatoes are pretty small, so 5 is the number that I generally use. Okay, so now we got all these done. Now we're done with this knife. I'll wipe it down. Set it over here. And with these back end ones, we'll slice those first. We'll dice those up first. But we're just going to be looking for little cubes on this. Doesn't have to be perfect or anything like that, but just going to go ahead and do like that. And then like that. And I just grab all the little end ones first because they're rounded, right? So it's like I don't want to like cut down on like this because, like I said, the skins are generally a little bit more difficult to cut through, like that. Like I just kind of sliced into it and I just kind of mushed it. So that's not what I want to do. So we're just looking to dice those, and I'll just dice these end parts off first. And then we can stack like 2 or 3 up when we're doing the rest of it, but these ones don't stack because, like I said, they're rounded on one side, so they don't really like to cooperate. So I'll get these annoying ones out of the way. Using the blade of your knife to scrape stuff off to one side, not good for your knife. So I use the back side of the knife, get that stuff out of the way a little bit. Alright, so now we can get a couple of these stacked up, and then we can start chopping them the same way we were doing the other ones. One thing to note is, like, don't, like, get a full fucking, like, I don't want to hear about somebody doing like this. Like, this is too many, you know, okay? Don't fucking do that, because first of all, you're a lot more likely to cut yourself if you're trying to cut something that you don't have complete control over. But also, you're not gonna end up with a nice even cut, so just do like a couple of them. Don't get too many. You're gonna hurt yourself, and I'm gonna be sad. Well, Billy told me that I need to sack a full tomato and try and slice it in the midair. Fucking, I did not say that. Don't be spreading lies about Billy. Alright. Do you not see your donation alert with this setup? I do. I should. It's set up. Well, I don't hear it. Did it pop up? Because if it did, then I didn't notice it, is what happened. Like, I don't hear anything, so I can't hear what's going on. If it should pop up, but if it didn't pop up, then I can't really tell. If I would have looked up at the screen when it came up, then I would have seen it, but I don't have a method of hearing things that are going on. It popped up and it made the sound effect. Damn it! I'm sorry. Alright. Hold on, let me go look at it 1 second. Okay. Alright, I can't. Alright, let's see. For more groceries, $10 from GGG Life. Thank you so very much for that $10 donation, sir. I appreciate the support also very much. Thank you so much for helping me out financially. Thanks for helping me stay full-time with the stream, and thanks for helping me pay the bills. Appreciate it. I will put that towards some groceries. Sorry I missed it. But like I said, unless I'm looking, I'm not going to see it. I don't have a method of, like, at some point I'd like to have it so that I can hear what's going on the stream. But, like, whatever you guys hear, like, I don't hear none of that. All I hear is the empty kitchen. And like there's some birds outside the wall, and there I can hear them. So we're just gonna finish dicing these up. Alrighty. I thought about having the tomatoes diced up like before we did the stream, but I figured, you know, it'd probably be good to show some tomato dicing. If you end up with some bigger slices, you can go back again, but then again, it's not really that big of a deal. Well, I can hear, like, there's birds, like, there must be, like, a bird's nest, like, just outside the wall in the kitchen, because I can always hear them, like, chirping. And then every once in a while, I hear, like, a squirrel, like, they're getting pissed at each other. There's a whole lot of drama going outside my kitchen. There's not even a window here, you know, I just can fucking hear it through the wall. So they must be making a lot of noise. I thought I like missed like a brown spot on the tomato, but it was just a tomato seed. Almost there. I mean, this is like definitely like a little bit, like a lot of bit more complicated than like my chicken that I was doing before. But I mean, this is certainly like a nice little thing. It doesn't really take that much time, especially when you've done it once before. And I don't know, it's really nice. This is I'm making a lot, by the way. Like this salsa will generally last a week. And that's for me and Kuro, so. Alright, so we're done with these tomatoes. And we're going to get these tomatoes into this container here really quick. Like, this is a pretty big, I'm not sure how big you can exactly see how big this container is, but it's fucking big. It's a, let's see, what is it? I have no idea. Doesn't say. God damn it. But it's a really big bowl, and this is going to be like up to the brim with salsa, so. Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta let the birds and squirrels do their thing, you know, outside, and then, you know, you gotta get by making salsa. That's how you make them happy, by letting them do their own business. Kind of being careful. I'm just kind of scooping it up with my knife here and then putting it in, and I gotta be careful. Like, I'm running my knife along the side of the blade. Probably not the smartest decision in the world, but that's just what we're doing. All right. Okay, so like you can see, like this is like half, like not half, like a little less than half of this is going to be tomatoes. From that, I'm going to wipe off my knife on this rag here. Then we're going to take that same wet rag and we're going to wipe this stuff off. And we're going to be dicing up some. We're going to throw some onions in there as well. Let me get this nice and wiped off. Okay. And then we're going to be adding in we got some pepperoni peppers here. And we got some, these are mild pepper rings, yellow pepper rings is what we always call them at the restaurant. And then we have jalapenos. And you can use like fresh peppers for this stuff, but I really like jarred peppers actually. They're like I just kind of like the pungent flavor that they have from being, you know, stored in jars, and they're still, as long as you get like the right kind, like they're still nice and crispy. So I'm gonna start with the pepperoni peppers here, and I think I have got a spoon somewhere around, measuring spoon. All right. Basically, I got a little tablespoon here, and I'm basically going to be using a tablespoon of each of these in this salsa. And for as far as like this stuff goes, like I don't have. Like for most of the other stuff with this salsa, I don't really have some exact measurements. Like I just kind of go by like tasting it. It's like, oh, maybe this needs a little bit more of this, maybe it needs a little bit more of that. Is that some Mega Man 2 music I hear? Probably. Like I said, I can't hear what's playing, so. Well, actually, from what I can see, yeah, it's from Flash. It was Flash Man from Mega Man 2. You put habanero peppers in your salsa? Yeah, like just one habanero would be like fucking plenty for this salsa. I think anyway. I'm not really a huge fan of absurdly spicy stuff. Like I would much rather have like a medium kind of salsa. So I'm gonna get 4 pepperoni peppers out of here. And I'm not gonna, like, the stems are quite chewy and bitter and not very good, so we're not going to be using that. So I'm just going to be dicing these up. I'm going to be mincing this is what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to mince that up to the stem, not getting the stem itself. We're going to dump that. And just trying to be careful when I actually get closer to my fingers, as always. I put about 2 because I make about a gallon of salsa at a time. Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it as far as I'm concerned. If you don't make a large batch, then it just kind of gets a little bit tedious, especially when you're trying to make like a snack food. Like you just want to have to make it like every once in a while. So I'm going to mince this. I'm just going to go over this with a knife. And I didn't really talk about like how to hold a knife, but like the proper way to be holding a knife is like you pinch it like above the handle, like on the top of the knife, and then you hold it the rest of it. So you can see like your thumb and first finger, index finger, holding that, and then the rest of your fingers wrap underneath like this. And this is going to give you like good leverage. And always trying to keep the knife on that cutting board itself. Like I'm not bringing it up and doing it down like this. I'm like just bringing it back and forth and then lifting the back up and down. And then forward and back motions. Again, just using the knife, giving the knife the chance to help you. Alright, this is looking nice and minced up here. I could pile it up again and chop it down one more time. That looks pretty good. Wipe the knife off. Get this in there. Very good. And then, like I said, we're going to be using a tablespoon. Do you sharpen the knife yourself? I do not sharpen the knife myself. I have a sharpening stone, but I'm not comfortable enough with myself to make a knife very good. I have a honing steel, but I don't. That's all that I do. If I need my knife sharpened, I'll send it to. I'll bring it somewhere. There's a bit of cooking. I don't know. Maybe Rufus. Maybe. We're going to be using a tablespoon of this. Oh, no, I don't want a pepper, I just want the juice. Alright, we're going to get that in there. It's actually a little bit less than a tablespoon for this stuff. That's fine. Just wiping off the jar, make sure it's good to go. And then we're going to get some jalapenos. How's it going, Celev? What's up, man? Happy Wednesday to you. What's up, Guapo? What am I cooking? We're making salsa jam. That's what we're making today. And we made this spaghetti sauce to kind of go into the salsa as well. Basically, I'm looking for about like the equivalent of like a couple of jalapenos here. And that's looking pretty fine. Like I said, I'm not really a huge fan of super spicy stuff. Then again, if you were trying to make this spicier, I would not recommend. Like I've tried it before, and I don't think that it works really well to just use like more jalapenos. I've tried, and it doesn't really seem to work that great. If I was going to make this spicier than what I'm making it right now, which is not very spicy, is I would use like a fresh pepper, like a fresh jalapeno, a fresh habanero, something like that. And habaneros actually do like taste really great. So don't like necessarily be afraid of the heat that it gives. Like maybe just add like a part of one at first to see how you like it. And I think they have some really fucking great flavor to them. But like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the heat that comes with it, so I wouldn't use like a lot of it. But they still have a lot of flavor. Sharpening knives is real easy to learn. I just haven't done it, I guess. So again, we're going to be mincing these jalapenos up here. Going over it a bunch of times, make sure it's real fine. Change the ingredients rather than the quantity if you want spiciness. It can be overwhelming. Yeah, this is, like I said, this is like quite mild. And one thing to note is like when we're done with this, and like when you're done with it and you taste it, like you should expect it to become significantly more spicy. Thanks for the follow, by the way, appreciate it. You should expect it to become not quite twice as spicy, but pretty close, I would say, after about a day in the fridge. So if you're serving it right away, then sure, like add some more spice to it. But if it's going to be like eaten over the course of like a few days or like a week, like this one is, then expect it to become more spicy than what it currently is when you taste it right like this. You personally absolutely love spicy food? Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. That's fantastic. Cool, Keel. I'm glad to hear it. The tomatoes also dull down the spiciness. Yes, they definitely do. For sure. Absolutely, Horna. And like I said, I'm going to get a tablespoon of this juice. If you go a little bit too heavy on the juice, then it can be, like I said, this can be like pretty pungent. And by pungent, I mean it's gonna taste like pickles, kind of. Like it's gonna get more pickle flavor. It's because, yeah, there's a lot of brine to be adding. So, I think it's just because the oils are like able to just kind of meld throughout the salsa. In my opinion, I don't really know why. That's just my experience. Yeah, we're going to use about a pretty good handful of yellow pepper rings here. I like yellow pepper rings a lot. They are freaking great. Except for when you get yellow pepper rings from like, if you get them from like Subway or something like that and you haven't put them on your sandwich, I don't know why, like they have jarred yellow pepper rings like with the stems on them. The stems are bitter and disgusting and horrible, but I think these are fantastic. They're not spicy. They're just great. Does your salsa have corn? Nope, this does not have corn in it. I've never made a salsa with corn. I've had plenty of salsas with corn in them, but I've never made one with corn myself. Stems are also rock hard. Yeah, absolutely, on yellow pepper rings. So like, yeah, if you find a stem in like a jar of yellow pepper rings or mild pepper rings or whatever, yeah, don't use it because they're gross. Do not like. Your salsa always has corn. Sweet corn tastes awesome. I'll have to try it at some point. I don't see why not. You just put like the whole corn. You don't have to dice it up the corn at all, right? You just kind of put it in there. I don't know. All right, that's looking good. And then again, we got to put some onions in there too. I didn't do that yet. Wipe off this knife. I think we're done with the knife. I think. Tomatoes. I'm going to put some onions in right now. And I really like onions quite a bit. But I'm not going to go like crazy with the raw onions in here. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some in because they're kind of in big chunks, and they can kind of overwhelm your salsa just a little bit. But so I'm just kind of sprinkled in like, I don't know, like a like a half a cup or something, half a cup of onion. That's probably accurate, I guess, vaguely. Don't the jalapeno and habanero seeds add more spice? Yeah, I think because they have more oil in it. Yeah, which Treckler, most of the capsaicin is in the seeds. Yeah, that sounds right. All right. So this is pretty much good to go. I'm going to mix this up first. I'm actually going to wipe this cutting board off first. Like I said, I think we're done with the knife, and I think we're done with the onions too. Last time we did the cooking stream, I had my small cutting board. This is my like big nice cutting board, but it's a pain in the ass to clean. So like I won't ever use it for like meats, because then I got to do like a full wash on it. But like with this stuff, I could just kind of wash it while it's on the counter with just vegetables. So I won't mind, because this does not fit in the sink at all. Like you basically have to wash it outside of the sink and just get water everywhere. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like it. Thoughts on cilantro? Okay, so with cilantro, if I was making a pico, I would put cilantro in it. And basically, like a pico is a little bit more like basically just like kind of this kind of a mixture. And if I wasn't putting that in, then I might put some cilantro in it. But I like cilantro okay. Kuro does not like cilantro, so I don't make anything with cilantro in it generally. So I'm generally humming the FTL theme, but for a second there I was humming something from Mega Man. I don't even remember what it was from Mega Man. I'm gonna get a spoon. So like you can see, this is looking like nice and colorful. If you wanted to, you could put some, you could put like a little bit of bell pepper in there, but it's really, that would really just be there. Like I don't think that they add a whole lot as far as the flavor. I gotta charge the battery pack. Holy shit! How low is the battery getting on this? That's apparently pretty low. Hold on, I'm gonna go get the charger for the camera. 1 second. We don't want it to die. Alright. Hold still, camera. There we go. Now it's not going to die. Just take the big cutting board into the shower with me. I do really like this cutting board. Alright, I'm going to mix this up. Then we're going to add this spaghetti sauce to it. And I'm not too concerned with adding, like, you know, one thing that you could add to this, like if you were just like if you didn't have anything else, or if you happen to have like crushed red peppers lying around, you could throw some crushed red peppers into this, make it a little bit spicier. And I think that's got some decent flavor in it too. Get to the charger. What are you doing? You're a madman. Alright, this is going to be nice and cooled down. Very good. Alright, let's get in there. Dive in. Alright, let's mix that up. Like I said, this is a lot of salsa. It's not like, this isn't like a, you know, it's like you get, we have like one of these things that we use for a different, for like, if we're cooking something that we use salsa as a recipe in for other stuff, that we might just use like a jar of salsa. This is like twice as much as what's in like one of these. This is like a 24 ounce. It's like, maybe it's not twice as much, but this is at least 32 ounces of salsa. I guarantee it's probably more like 40, I would guess. It's a lot. Gotta make sure to stir it up really good. Especially when you're adding, you know, the spaghetti sauce on top of it, it's definitely kind of difficult. So just scoop it from the edge and then bringing it up into the middle, just over and over and over again, turning it. And like I said, with like the last bit of stuff for it, like the pepperoncinis, the yellow pepper rings, and jalapenos, that kind of stuff can vary, and you can like experiment all you want with it. I just like adding I think the spaghetti sauce is a really great kind of base for it, and it really adds like a whole depth of flavor, getting the, you know, the cooked tomatoes and stuff in there. It's really delicious. And if you wanted to, you could like blend up the ingredients some more and make it like a little less chunky. Like you could just basically throw all of the, like the yellow pepper rings, pepperoncinis, the onions, and probably, I wouldn't blend up the tomatoes, but you could blend all the peppers and stuff and the onions up and like just blend that into like really fine. Basically a paste. And throw that in there. But boom, that's the salsa. It's about a liter of salsa, yep. A liter of cola. Alright. So boom, that's what we made today, right there. That's all of our work. So that was pretty fun. We made ourselves some really freaking delicious popcorn. They usually have some nice information I can work out when I cook. Oh, watching cooking shows or streams always makes me hungry. That's good, Horna. No, it is good. It's not good. Now I can have popcorn with my salsa. I know. What seasoning does the popcorn have? Just salt. That's all that the popcorn has. You really like a more juicy salsa with more pasty texture? Then yeah, absolutely. You should probably blend a good bit of it. Like this has a lot of juice in it. Like I don't know how well you could see it, like kind of pooling up in there. It's kind of running down. So, I mean, if you blended it up, it's going to be, like, a lot less chunky. No problem. But, I don't think that this is a salsa that's necessarily for everybody. It's just, like, my favorite. And it's just, like, it's just really great. So, yeah, you can put whatever you want in with the popcorn, but I'm just a huge fan of just the salt. Like a lot of salt goes a really long way. And again, like I don't use kosher salt for that, just because it doesn't like to get in the nooks and crannies of the popcorn as well. So I don't think it does as good of a job as like just table salt does. But yeah. So let's see, it's 12:30.